thought sure are curious. Very, very curious. You have left me with many questions for today's Q&A. I'll answer them all wholeheartedly. Our first question comes from a viewer named Kerry, or at least that is what their YouTube name is. They have asked me, if we weren't so fortunate as to have your Majesty as king, what life would you want for yourself? That is a question I have not thought about. Perhaps, why not king? I would be a simple baker with his wife, his children, feeding the village, making ends meet, keeping everything together, despite constant struggles. A simple but life that is worth every moment. And for our next question, we have 3 questions from Thomas Entertainment Studios. We start with, do you think a king should rule with or over Parliament? I think, at least from my experience, a king should rule over Parliament. For Parliament is not there to govern, it is there to guide and to judge. But in my belief, the monarch is the one who should do the governing. They've also asked, how much authority should a monarch have over the church? I say, it is not good for a monarch to rule with the church rather than over. For if the church has equal rights of government as the king, how must the king rule? For if the church, a monarch is ordained by God, a church merely worships him. The church should not have governance over England. Thomas Entertainment Studios also asked, did you ever fear rebellion, or did you believe loyalty assured? I indeed did fear rebellion. Any good king will fear rebellion, for the mere fact that rebellion is imminent for every king. With no king is loyalty assured. Loyalty is never assured. If you could speak to your younger self, what would you say? From Too Scary, Too Cool. If I could speak to my younger self, I would tell him if I could speak to my younger self, I would tell him if I could speak to my younger self, I would tell him to trust not just what his heart doth decree, but to trust what he is told by those most loyal. My heart has betrayed me many a time. Perhaps if I had listened to my advisors just once, I would not have ended up in the situation I am in. Who was your last real love? From Louis and Friends. My last real love is my current wife, better in power. Many in your times, I am told, tell the tale that I did not love, for that I did not love many my wives. But to that I decree that is a blatant lie. As you know, upon this channel is where I reveal many my true emotions, not just what I tell the public of my time. I do say it's not, I do confide in you all most wholeheartedly and secretively that it is not the fact I cannot love, it is the fact I cannot hold love, that I cannot go without being betrayed or betraying. And there's something that eats a man alive. From grind_111. How do you intend to balance England's alliances between France and the Holy Roman Empire to secure the nation's influence without becoming dependent on either power? I rather like this question. As you may know, England and France, we do have a troubled history. Same with the Holy Roman Empire. To avoid becoming dependent on either of them in our times of peace. It's my belief. It is my belief that in that very situation, to avoid becoming dependent on either power, when you ask them for help, it is merely help, not their chance of governance. If you need supplies or help in a war, you do not let them take the control, you merely let them aid. You do not give them a chance to do more than that. That is my wisdom for the question. Of course, if you yourself, grind_111, would like to help in partaking of planning of this very arrangement, you will know where to find me. My emails are in the YouTube description of my channel. From Vicky Leonard 72. Hello, Vicky. Your Majesty, I have heard you were quite lame from a jousting incident. I also heard your leg is ill. Which one is it? Have a great sunshiny day. May you have a great and sunshiny day as well. In truth, the answer to your question is both. Indeed, my leg is left quite lame from the jousting incident. I fell off my horse. I was knocked unconscious. I was gone. They thought I died. Alas, I did not. And many do claim that is what made me decide I did not want Anne Boleyn as my wife. They believe that is when I became violent, but nay, that is not the case. I realized how close death could strike at any time, and I realized what I needed. Anne was not that fit. But yes, my leg is left lame from a jousting incident, but it is also ill. It is an infection the doctors leave open. They let the boils and the wounds leak and bleed and let the pus out. If it tries to close, it'll pop, cut, and slice it. And therefore my leg has never healed. My leg is always left open. I would show you, but I don't believe YouTube will allow such levels of disgust upon their platform. So to answer your question, my leg is both lame and ill. And then from, pardon me, I shall desperately mispronounce your name, but Saga Dachura, who asked, King Henry, do you plan to formally study history and or the arts in the future? Your online portfolio is off to an excellent start and will be a great addition to resumes for college and scholarship applications. In your times, there are many a higher level of education. I do indeed plan to study both my own history and perhaps the arts in the future. With my expertise of my own times, I see no reason why in the future I should not study it. For I've lived it. I live it every day. There's no reason for me not to study it. In your times, many who do study my history especially, such as the great Tracy Borman or Susanna Lipscomb, Dr. Susanna Lipscomb, they do study it profusely. And I would love to do that very same. For I have lived it, I live it, why should I not study it? From Shelby GF, I believe that is your username. Now this one is more so for the channel than for me. Why do you keep Anne Boleyn's head? Now, my no subjects, if you have watched any of my videos, you will note Anne Boleyn's head is a very common prop. Now, yes, it is more property of the channel than it is of I. You note in some older videos, Anne Boleyn herself or her ghost does appear. In fact, she is returning, so if you're watching this, Anne, hello. And hopefully she will have a video up soon. But the head, we used it as a prop in the time when we thought she was leaving the channel. And it was a good way of still including my ex-wife. If you remember my Halloween short, when I said I was tired, but so much candy, so worth it. I had the head in my bag, and when I went around, I would open the bag, and her head was peeking right up. And the first lady who noticed it when she opened her door, the first words out of her mouth were, "This is exactly how it happened. There's a head in your bag." Like it was the most casual thing ever. If you're watching this, hello. But, yeah. We use it as a prop because it adds to the channel, really. And it adds this sense of humor and dark comedy. And on top of that, it just has this nice feel to the channel. And you feel more connected to the actual history. That is my thoughts, at least. And I believe it adds the sense of, like, not just funniness, but it just adds to the whole channel, and I just think it is honestly just an amazing prop. I hope that answers your question. Next we have voice crack. From Roxanne Conley. Hello, Roxanne. King Henry VIII of England, France, and Ireland. Your Majesty, thank you for your time. Which do you feel is your most successful marriage? That is between 3 wives. Catherine of Aragon, Jane Seymour, and Catherine Parr. I was married to Catherine of Aragon for 24 years. She was the most loyal of all her wives. But then Jane Seymour gave me the son I so longed for, and I loved her dearly. And then there's my current wife, Catherine Parr. I love her more than I may admit. And that is a truth I've come to terms with. I would say my most successful marriage was Catherine of Aragon. In terms of the end, nay. But in terms of the material and everything else, I would say Catherine of Aragon. If your brother didn't pass away and you became king, what do you think? Oh, sorry, if your brother passed away and you became king, what do you think? No, if your brother didn't pass away and he became king, what do you think you would be doing? Well, I would be the Duke of York. I would have been married off to someone. I would perhaps be a foreign king or a local duke or prince or something of the sort. If my brother had became king, well, perhaps I would have married a princess of another country. Or perhaps a local of high birth. Yes, a local of high birth sounds perfect. I believe that's what would have happened. I have no doubt I may not have become king of some other country, though. And lastly, from Roxanne, what is your favourite portrait of yourself? This one I shall put on the screen right next to me. Look at it. Doesn't it look amazing? It looks perfect. Again, we have another question from Kerry. Knowing what you know now, if you could choose the mottos for your queens, what would they be? I'm sure the most happy wouldn't make the cut. Wink. Indeed it would not. Catherine of Aragon, loyal to the grave. Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn's would be... Perhaps... So the most happy. Definitely not the most happy. As she had... the most neck pain. Jane Seymour, the most beloved. Anne of Cleves. I know not what I would give Anne of Cleves for her motto. And Catherine Howard's be perhaps the second most neck pain. And then I would keep my last wife's, my current wife, Catherine Parr's, no will other than his. I like that one. And then, to end this video, which has some commonly asked questions about His Majesty. How religious was Henry VIII personally? Very religious. Multiple prayers were said in the morning, and my Book of Hours will be used throughout the day. Why did Henry VIII break from the Catholic Church? Because Pope Clement was imprisoned by the Holy Roman Emperor, and he would not grant me a divorce with my first wife, Catherine of Aragon. Correction, annulment. I'm so used to hearing you all use the word divorce, but it was not a divorce, it was an annulment. A divorce means a marriage ended. An annulment means a marriage legally never happened. What is the great matter? The great matter was the whole process I went through trying to get rid of my first wife to marry my second wife. I shall have a video going into detail about that very soon, I hope. Did Henry VIII have favourites or best friends? Indeed I did. Sir Charles Brandon is my best friend, and I did have many court favourites. Many of my wives started off as court favourites. Apologies, my camera died. It's only been a few minutes. The sun just came out. That's all. But the next question. Did Henry VIII enjoy sports, and which sports in particular? Indeed, I did. I did enjoy sports. I do enjoy sports, although I cannot play them anymore. One of my favourites was absolutely tennis. Not the tennis you may think of, but real tennis. Real tennis is my favourite sport. Then there's also jousting and all of that. What is the biggest misconception of Henry VIII? That I was always this big, ugly creature. No, I was not. When I was younger, I was this fit and muscular and sporty man. Of course, after my leg injury, that could not happen. Because I was too hurt to actually go back out and practice sports. So many people think of me always as this ugly creature, but that didn't really happen until my fifth wife. Did Henry VIII expect Elizabeth to become queen? Indeed I did. I did not plan for her to become queen, but I was not excluding the possibility by the end of my life. For, indeed, my last act of succession declared that if my son Edward had no kids, the throne would go to his sister Mary, and if Mary had no kids, the throne would go to her sister Elizabeth. So it is basically my existence and my plot, my plan, I should say, better word, that Elizabeth became queen. How close was Henry to his mother, Elizabeth of York? Very close. There's a portrait you may find depicting the palace after her death, and I am there crying into her bed because she has recently died. by that portrait. It hurt. It really did. I was very close to my mother. I had been raised in a household with her and my sisters, and it really hurt when she passed. But that's enough of that for now, because I will cry. And lastly, what did Henry study as a prince? As a prince, I studied many things: sport, music, literature, art. One of my most favorable lessons I was taught when I was perhaps 9. You may hear me reference it a lot because I think it's absolutely hilarious. They taught me this as a 9-year-old. Do not deflower virgins nor violate widows. I was 8. I was 8 or 9. And that was what they were teaching me. Do not deflower virgins nor violate widows. Oh my. But I received a big education, for I was not destined to be king. I was not taught the kingly stuff. I was just taught the basics. I shouldn't say the basics, but I was taught things that most kings weren't. So I was very well educated, well-rounded, as you say nowadays. But alas, my subjects, that brings our Q&A to an end. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments below, for I shall, indeed, turn those into the next Q&A video. Until then, my little subjects, I bid you all farewell.